Hey there, we're back once again. This time we got something a little bit different. Just a different machine this time. What we've got here is a mid-60s Sears Kenmore sewing machine. This is model number 158.17560. Everything in the 17175 ... machine model line is about the same. Also the 158.14100, again about the same. These machines were made by Maruzan Jaguar in Japan. They're very nice machines. They all have kind of the same setup here with stitch length, stitch width, stitch selector, straight and zigzag right here. And I've done some work on this, but we had a bit of a problem with it. The reverse. It was kind of stuck, and it was stuck only going in reverse. So if you put fabric in here, it's supposed to go through this way. It was only coming back this way. There's a linkage mechanism here with the reverse switch. If you look at this, see how slow that's coming back up? You can see I can actually push it back up even more. Linkage is gummed up. Now we thought we'd solve this, but apparently not. These machines sit forever. They don't get used all the time. And the old oil will dry out. The petroleum in them will dry out, and they'll turn into like a gum. So if you don't clean the gum off the mechanism, you get sticky stuff like this. Everything else works on it. Everything else works fine. And if you can manually stick it into forward, it sews perfectly. Yeah, see that little arm right here on that cam? See how slow that's going back on? That thing should snap back. So she's a little gummy. We're going to get it fixed. The way to do this, and I actually recommend doing this. If you got an old sewing machine you're trying to put back in service, this is the best way to go. A lot of people will tell you don't do it. No, never use it. No. WD-40 is your friend. And I'll tell you why. There's a specific reason. That's because it's the brand. WD-40 has a little bit of kerosene in it. And I've double checked and confirmed this through research. Kerosene will melt petroleum products, especially thicker stuff. Sewing machine oil, light oils, machine oils, 3-in-1, which they also say don't use it. Yeah, it's the same. This is a low viscosity oil, which is what you want in a machine with close tolerances, which these machines have, and high speed. You don't want thick stuff because it's just going to cause you problems. Putting drops of motor oil in here on these joints, it'll work, but over time it's going to give you a big headache. It's also not going to get quite enough oil in between all your bearing surfaces and give you the right lubrication. The tolerances are so tight that you want something that flows. You also want something that's not going to change viscosity by heat. Which reminds me of another thing. Some people tell you, well, take a hairdryer and open up the top of this thing and put a hairdryer down in there and it'll loosen up all the parts. Yeah, that's true. It'll actually reliquefy that gummed up oil. But once the machine cools down, which this is what happened to us, had this working just fine, reverse was beautiful, got it oiled, seemed to be working just fine. Sat for several weeks, wife finally pulled it out to do some work with it. Last night we go to hit this reverse lever and it just stayed down like this. Now after working a couple times, now it'll come back up that far, but it's supposed to come back up that far. As soon as it cools down, that stuff recongeals. It's not liquid anymore, it gums back up. So the best thing to do is use kerosene, WD-40, spray down all those joints and pivot points, let it soak, and then use some compressed air to blast out every joint and pivot point on that mechanism. That blasts all the old gummy stuff out, which this has now liquefied, so it's easier to get out. Plus it dries the joint up, getting it ready for a fresh oiling. A word about oil. Only use Singer oil. Only use sewing machine oil. Don't use 3-in-1. It'll gum up your machine. They will all gum up your machine over time. It doesn't matter. I've been reading about lately, there's some stuff, Croyle or some other brand name. It's synthetic with Teflon. Yeah, okay, better. But you know, it's still a light oil. Most sewing machine oil you're going to buy that's branded in the oiler or the oiler that comes with your machine, it's going to be mineral oil. Mineral oil doesn't come from rocks. Okay? It is a petroleum product. Even though it's a light, low viscosity oil, it will dry out over time just like anything else and leave a gummy sludge behind. That's just the nature of the beast. It's the way it is. Okay? I did all the research because everyone says, don't use 3-in-1, it'll gum your machine. Only use this, only use this, only use mineral oil, only use the regular stuff, only use the Teflon. Trust me, it's all mineral oil base. This is mineral oil. 3-in-1 is mineral oil. The only difference between this and regular mineral oil, light oil, machine oil, is this actually has citronella in it. Now, why would I want that? Good question. It's going to turn into a rant, isn't it? Okay, let's go for it. Citronella is an extract. It's a vegetable oil that comes from a species of lemongrass that comes mostly out of Indonesia, Near East Asia. Most people are familiar with it with citronella lamps or candles that you set out when you're doing your cookouts, and the fumes coming off of it keep the bugs away, keeps the mosquitoes away. This is true. Citronella oil is a natural insect repellent. But what I didn't know, after doing research, citronella is actually an antifungal agent. Fungus will not grow on it. Fungus will not grow on anything treated with citronella oil. Now, you're asking, well, fungus, sewing machines, what's he talking about? Think about this. Most sewing machines, if you're not a full-time seamstress, don't get used every day. Most common, especially with home sewing machines, is, okay, we'll break it out and we'll use it for a while and we'll make some projects and we'll go after that. And then the cover goes back on and we're done. And it sits in the closet for 6 months to a year or more. Well, see, what you need to know. There's actually fungus out there, mold, bacteria, floating around in the air that we can't even see, that will eat petroleum. Yes, it's true. It will actually eat petroleum. It exists in nature. When these molds find something to chew on, like petroleum, and start digesting it, they excrete, sorry for the bad word, acid. What does acid do to metal parts? It eats it. It creates corrosion and pitting and rust. You don't want that inside these finely tuned sewing machine parts with close tolerances and everything's just within, I don't know, thousandth of an inch. You get corrosion and pitting on these parts in there, and especially on bearing surfaces, oh, you're done. So, this was originally created as bicycle chain oil back in the 1880s. 1886, I believe. If Wikipedia is to be believed. It makes sense. Because bicycles were very popular. They were the most popular mode of transportation before cars came along. They were quicker than a horse or a wagon. Very convenient. But this was made as bicycle chain oil. Bikes are outside. They're out in the open air. There's mold spores flying everywhere. Use the bike, you put it away for a couple weeks, mold gets on it, it eats the petroleum, boom, pitting, corrosion, rusted, stuck, non-moving chain. Not good. So the brilliance of the guy who put this together, put the citronella oil in there, no insects would get on it to leave any of their mess behind. Rodents hate it, so they won't be climbing over your bicycle and peeing all over the place, which is acidic. And no mold spores or anything else is going to settle on the thing and start eating it up and depositing acids and breaking down your metals and season up your bicycle chains and other parts. It's brilliant. So in my opinion, this is actually the best thing to use for this. It just fits the application. So there you go. Rant over about that. I put so much research into this, I can't tell you. It's just ridiculous. Don't buy the claims about, oh, you have to get this brand. Oh, it's... Yeah, well... Read the label, ask questions. If they won't tell you, move on. I wish I could remember the name of that other one. Everyone talks trifoil, or I don't know. Trifoil. I think it's trifoil. It's synthetic. Well, not petroleum. Well, yeah, okay, cool. It's got Teflon in it. Even more cool. I got no knock against it. But, at $8 to $10 a bottle, I'm not doing it. I've had this can for forever. It doesn't go bad. It was like $3 at the hardware store. No problem. Alright, that's that. So what we're going to do here, we're going to get you up on a tripod, and we're going to get this machine open. I'm going to show you what's going on, what the deal is, and hopefully how to fix it. I'm pretty confident about this. We're going to get this thing cleaned out good so this doesn't happen again. I don't want to go back in here and mess with it. This machine runs beautiful, and I'd rather it just be back there and let her use it and have me have nothing to do with it. Not that I hate sewing. Okay, don't get me wrong. But I want this working for my wife, because when she wants to work, I want her to be able to work and not worry about junk like this. So, we're going to fix that. We'll see you in a minute. Alrighty then. First thing we got to do is get the top off this machine. Now, most of these might have a screw under here that holds this top down. This does not. A lot of Singers do. This side actually pivots up and there'll be a screw right here. This does not. Most of these old Kenmores just have spring clips that hold this top on. You don't want to take your screwdriver and jam it in here. You're going to chip your paint. Best way to do this, come over here. Right here, there's a little tiny corner next to the wheel. Stick your little screwdriver in there. Boom. Pop it off just like that. Ta-da! Okay, so what do we got going on here? Here's a reverse lever. There's the inside. You can see it moving right there. I had to replace this, by the way. $14 for a little piece of chrome plastic. Because and going like this and trying to get it all loosened up and everything, I broke it off. Dummy. It's not hard to change. It's just one screw that does it. It's easier if you actually get the wheel off and take this end piece off. Just 2 screws here. Comes out, lifts up. Easy. And you get to the screw going this way. It's not hard to fix. But there we go. There's the lever. So there's one pivot point right down here. This part seems okay loose. Not so bad. Let's see. This is the only way I have to actually determine what's going on. You have to feel stuff and move stuff and figure out what's happening. That should be replaced. We'll get to that in a minute. See, that pivots down there. See if I can get here. Hang on. Let me get you a flashlight. Okay, here we go. There we go. Flashlight. Now, if you look straight down there, I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a spring right there. That's a return spring. And the springs are always intact on these. I've had this trouble before. You get online and you just, oh, your springs might be missing. No, the springs are there. It's no problem. But the spring is there and it's intact. The only problem is I need 3 hands. Hang on. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, there's more pivot. There's another pivot point up here. Right there. Let's see what's going on with this. Ah, see, that's nice and loose. That's cool. So we can assume it's anywhere between there and back to the lever. Let's try something. Hang on. I'll sit you down. There we go. Bring that back. We'll hold that. Look at that. Look at that, will you? Just so you know. Okay, I'm going to show you. Watch. See that lever moving back and forth? This lever here? What I do is I push this down and then I held this lever back like this. Okay? As you can see, that spring's pretty good. It's... You can hear that spring working. Now it feels nice and loose. So, holding that spring back like this, okay, look at that. That stays down. I've just isolated the problem. It's this pivot on this lever mechanism, which might make my life a lot easier, believe it or not. Here, let's give you a look. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, see that part moving there? See, the only reason it's springing back up at all is just because of spring tension on this other lever. See that part that's moving? There it is. See that little screw there? Right to the left is a joint. There's a spring around that barrel. I've actually had that out before. It's put in the way it's supposed to. So we're going to lubricate that and see if that doesn't give us something. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so what I've done here, so as not to make a complete mess of the inside of the machine, got a paper towel, stuffed it down in there, and tucked it under that spot. So hopefully it will catch any drip and not stay in the machine. And we're going to shoot some lube down in there in those 2 joints. I'm going to try to show you this. I don't know how well it's going to turn out. I apologize in advance if it doesn't, but we'll give it a shot. Try to get right up on it. There we go. Soak it down. Soak it down. There we go. And that's it for the moment. Just let that sit. I can see it bubbling already. We'll just let that work its way in there. Get about 10-15 minutes and we'll come back and work the lever a little bit and see if that wants to loosen up any. We'll be back. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes of soak time. Let's see what we've got. Hold that arm back. Look at that. Boy, oh boy, she's gummed up good. So we'll get some more on here and keep soaking it. Okay, so this is about after 1 hour. Spring's back okay. There's a little touch of take up there, but it's better than it was. It stays down on its own if you hold this upper lever back like that. Here, I'll show you. This is the lever I'm holding back. And if I just let that upper lever go, it springs back. Not bad. Still a little gummy. It's looser, but it's gummy. So I'm going to hit it with another spray and let it soak. This has been about an hour already, so we're going to give it at least another 20-30 minutes, maybe even another hour. Whatever it takes. Stand by. Here's a new development for you. Working a lot better. But now I'm going to push it down and hold the upper lever like I did before. Watch this. Let's see what happens. Look at that. That's actually springing back on its own now. Slow as hell. But that's an improvement. Before it would just go down and stay down. So, we're at about, oh, the slap's gone there. And we're about 2 hours in. About 8 applications. Just taking 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so between applications. Just kind of working it through like this. Go easy on these plastic parts, especially if they're older, they're brittle. This little lever itself is like 14 bucks. Look at that, it's getting faster already. I think a couple more ought to get it done. I'm just going to keep working it, and then I'm going to blow it out with the air hose. Normally I have this tip on here. But if you take that tip off, the hole inside, the size is just right. Get a straw off of one of those spray cans. And it fits right inside there. And you can get a high pressure stream of air out of this tip. I'm going to do that after the next couple applications, try to blow that stuff out of there. That's better. Still slow, still a little gummy, but we're going to keep at it. Okay, so here's the update. 10 treatments on the WD-40, about 2 hours and 20 minutes of soak time. Let's see if I can point this out. I don't know if you can see down there or not, but that right there and over here between this arm and this case. It moves a lot surer now. It's not so clunky, it's a little snappier. Let me show you this. I'll hold this lever back up here like I was doing before. Remember I was pushing this down and it was staying down. and then it was actually not returning, or actually returning a little bit. Watch this. Woohoo. Nice and free now. The spring's actually working. It's in there. So basically what I did, after I got done with the WD-40, I grabbed the compressed air and I blew those two joints out really good. Give each side a couple drops of oil, and then work this back and forth some to get the wick up in there into the joint. And it kept improving as I was doing it. After about 40 times of this, it used to be moving really slow like this. After about 40 times, it was kind of going like that. After about 60, 70 times, I had this. So, give a little more oil, another 50. Again, just take it easy on this. Don't crank on it. It's plastic. That's a nice return, and no slack going back up. It's not sticking. So I think I might call that fixed. Not too bad. I'm going to put a piece of fabric in here and run it through and see what it does. Hang on. There we go. A little piece of scrap fabric in the machine. The presser foot down. Let's put that in a little more. Power. Pedal down here. I didn't set my foot tension. It's all the way up. There we go. Let's see how that does. Too bad. Cloth's going crooked because I'm not guiding it. That would be normal. Give this another shot. I'm going to run some speed on this now and see what happens. Here, make it straight and see what happens. I'd say that's fixed. Not too bad. So, a couple hours. Again, just gotta be patient with this stuff. Especially when it's gummed up like that. You just gotta keep hitting it with the WD-40 and just keep working it, keep working it, keep working it. Still good. This lever up here, by the way, is straight stitch and zigzag. It's over here. It's actually working on these cams. Watch this little arm here. See? And there's a second one down here. It's a stack of cams. These are the built-in zigzag stitches on this machine. When it's over here on the zigzag, it's engaged. When you put it in reverse, it takes it off it. Depends on how you've got it set up. It'll actually raise and lower the little fingers there. So there you go. I'm happy with that. I'll leave her open until the wife gets home so she can have a look at it. Hopefully this will get her back into sewing. She had to stop last night because the machine went down and she couldn't do what she wanted to do on the Singer. We're both still learning about this stuff. It's going to get better, but there you go. Good old Kenmore. And by the way, that was full speed. And you can hear this is a pretty quiet machine even with the lid off, without the mechanical noise. Let's run that one time. There you go. Full blast, straight ahead. Not bad at all. Cannot beat these old Kenmores. You can get them cheap out there. They may be a little sticky, things don't want to work just like we had here. But if you want to spend a weekend, it's not a hard thing to do. Especially using the WD-40 to loosen things up. Just spray down all the joints and just let it sit. Other thing I forgot to mention, last thing. I got a paper towel and wadded it up and stuck it down in there. I'm going to pull that back up before I close it up. That's just to keep all the extra oil and WD-40 from just laying in there. It'll save you a lot of mess and headache, and it won't mess up your fabric later. Just in case. So there you go. All fixed. Hope this helps you out. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again to all my subscribers. Y'all are wonderful. We'll see you next time I come up with anything I can show you. See ya.